Okay.
Well, what's up? What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. Jeremy, how are you, man?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. Good. We're just recovering after Helene. We just got clean water back in all of Asheville yesterday. 53 days of city water not being clean enough to drink or shower in. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's been crazy.
that's a long time.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The good thing is our biggest property that we bought last year is on well water, so that's been really nice at least. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll wait for a couple people to get in here and get started. Jeremy, start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jeremy Wirths. So I've been in real estate now full time for 5 years. Got into it initially in multifamily, and that was kind of my focus. And then two and a half years ago, made the swap to short-term rentals and hospitality, and just kind of put the blinders on to pretty much everything else since. So I'm an agent up here, on the Savvy STR team up here in New Hampshire, with a focus on the White Mountains, which we're going to discuss later on. I do own short-term rentals myself. I co-host in the White Mountains region, and I have a boutique hotel as well in the White Mountains.
Awesome. So where did you get your start in real estate?
Um, so I actually got my start down in North Carolina when I lived when I lived down there, just long enough to be able to sell my primary residence before we moved up here. Yeah, like I said, it was multifamily, and then now short-term rentals.
Okay, very cool. So how many multifamily did you own and what do you do in short-term rentals today?
Yeah, multi was mainly it was just on the sales side. By the time I was newer as an agent, and it was just kind of, it was hard for me to find the balance between pushing out all the good deals to clients and having that fiduciary responsibility, and then, or do I keep it? And I ended up just always just kind of focusing on the client. And excuse me, yeah, short-term rentals have one in North Topsail, North Carolina, on the beach, and then have the hotel as well.
Okay, very cool. And the hotel's in New Hampshire, right?
It is, yep. It's in Bartlett, which is within the White Mountain National Forest.
Okay, very cool. So I know when you and I first met, I almost had forgotten New Hampshire was even a state. And not in a bad way, but it's almost just like it's never something that you think. It's not in any of those top 10 lists or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine that one of the reasons is because it is kind of a smaller area. So from the beginning, like tell us about investing there. What sort of houses are available there? What do the budgets look like? Why do people come there? Just everything.
Yeah. So the White Mountain National Forest, or the White Mountain region of New Hampshire, is the majority of it is the White Mountain National Forest, 880,000 acres of pristine outdoor adventure playground. 4 seasons year round. We're about two and a half, the two kind of anchor towns, Conway and Lincoln, within the region, are about 2.5 hours each from Boston. So we get most of the visitors and the owners are from the greater Boston area, and even southern down in Rhode Island and Connecticut. There are some as well that venture up from there. But yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned you kind of forgot about New Hampshire. So Conway, which is the largest town in the area, is always on at least two, if not three, top 10 ski town lists every year in the United States. And then Bretton Woods, one of the ski resorts. There are 8 ski resorts within the White Mountain National Forest. Bretton Woods is always on top 10 ski resorts in the nation as well. and the only other one in New England to make that list pretty much annually is Stowe in Vermont.
Yeah.
So we got some pretty gnarly terrain, if you will, out here. It's not the powder of the West, but we do have respectable terrain. And fun fact: Bretton Woods is for those that study finance. The Bretton Woods Agreement was actually signed at Bretton Woods here in New Hampshire, and that was when the gold was taken off, or the dollar was taken off the gold standard. That's that. But yeah, and as far as like year-round visitation, just about 5 million visitors a year visit the White Mountain National Forest. Uh, Mount Washington is the tallest mountain in New England, 6288. It's most famous for having the world's worst weather. Back in 1930 something, the wind speed record, still to this day, was recorded up there at 231 miles an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So why it's the world's worst weather is because there are three jet streams that essentially converge right above Mount Washington and in that area, and so it's constant chaos. Like you can go from sunny and 70 to snowing in a matter of 2 hours, and it is pretty cool, pretty
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, as far as what the region has to offer in the major draws, I did mention the 8 ski mountains. We also
Mhm.
the hiking as well. Here in New Hampshire, so there are 67 mountains that are 4,000 feet or taller in New England, and here in New Hampshire we have 48 of them.
Wow.
And there are a lot of like hiking lists that people like to go after, and the 48 4,000 footers is one of the more popular ones. But yeah, some of the best hiking in New England, if not the best. The Appalachian Trail goes through here. We've got rivers that people like to canoe and kayak and float on tubes down, mainly the Saco
Mhm.
River that runs through the Conway area. We've got, here in New Hampshire, we don't have retail tax, or um, we're live free or die is our motto here in New Hampshire. So the only real tax that you get is property tax, and they make up for it from not having the other taxes. But yeah, a lot of people will come here for shopping to save on taxes, especially Christmas time, back to school. In Conway, there's an outdoor outlet area. um, and then there's 2 amusement parks. There's Storyland, which is just outside of Conway, and there's Santa's Village, which is about 45 minutes north of Conway and Jefferson. Um, so yeah, there's all kinds of year-round activities to do, whether it be um, you know uh, family-oriented or even out in nature. It
Okay.
really is an adventure playground.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it sounds kind of like North Carolina. It kind of sounds like Four Seasons, right? So you've got all the ski resorts, but then you've got a lot of hiking, I imagine biking, any
Mhm.
whitewater rafting, anything like that up there?
No, we don't have whitewater here. Um, yeah, you'd have to go to Maine. Maine's got some good whitewater. So
Okay. Very cool.
yeah.
What do the purchase prices look like in terms of, what do you have to spend and then what do you get?
Yeah. So for a three bedroom, you're looking anywhere from 500 to 5 to 800. Returns. So the returns are decent. That's one of the things that I wanted to mull over with you. Was that one of the opportunities I see in the market is there are no super properties. There's actually
Mhm.
one that just hit 2 days ago, though. I was chatting with a gentleman that launched it. He did a fantastic job. But yeah, so I would say if you got views, and you have the amenities and all that, your 3 bedroom you could get 80 ish a year. 4 bedroom, purchase price you're looking that 800 up to 1.2, done right, you can probably you could do one, probably 100 to 120, and then that 5 bedroom purchase is going to be anywhere from a million up to 1.5, depending on location or more. And then 5 bedroom, you can done right, you could get 120 up to I think the um, top ones are getting like 160, 170. So
Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, let's dive into that a little bit. So let me just share my screen here. Let's see. So I really wanted to check into kind of what AirDNA is showing us on this stuff. And everybody, please, if y'all are watching and you have any questions, comments, anything like that for Jeremy about investing in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, throw them down below in the comments. We will see them here and we'll be able to answer them live for you. We do have Nicole Cavani hanging out with us from St. Augustine. So thanks for hanging out, Nicole, and watching
What's up,
today.
Nikki?
Yeah. And okay, so let me see. Where did not share. Give me 1 second. Man, it did this to me last time and it did not let me share my screen. Hold on one quick second.
All right.
Well, all right, I might have to pop back in and out of the stream. Oh, hold on. There we go. Freezing everything on me. There we go. No. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can pop back in and out of the stream. If not, y'all,
All
if
right.
you're watching this and it doesn't work, we'll be back on live in a second.
Elena, I can't, as far as replying to, oh, here we go. There's the chat. So we do, so peak season, summer, per usual. And then, back to school, beginning of September, it will die down, drop off a little bit. Weekends are still booked pretty good. And then beginning of first 2 weeks in October is peak foliage, and those 2 weeks are pretty high revenue, and almost, if not 100% occupied. People come from all over the world to see the foliage in New England. Um, and then after foliage drops off, third week, end of the second week into the third week of October, I get into what's called the brown season. It's just dead, just the trees, and it'll be fairly low booking, low rates up until the week of Christmas, when get you can get some. A lot of families will go to the mountains for Christmas, and the skiing will have started then. Actually, Bretton Woods had their opening weekend this past weekend, so from here on out, more and more mountains will start opening the slopes up. And then, yeah, Christmas is kind of the unofficial beginning of ski season, depending on Mother Nature and the ability to make snow. January, February, obviously peak skiing, with the last 2 weeks of February being again high revenue weeks, very similar to the beginning of October, because the last 2 weeks in February are school vacation weeks for Maine and Massachusetts have it the third week of February, and then New Hampshire, we have it the fourth week. And everybody, I think it's just tradition at this point that, a lot of families during our February vacation, they book skiing, week-long ski trips. And then everybody goes south during our April vacation to like the Florida area. So the last 2 weeks of February can actually be some of the highest revenue weeks in the year for some of the properties. And then you get into March, depending on how Mother Nature's cooperating with the snow, it will be um, ski season will last through second, third, if not the end of March. Then we got mud season, which is April and May. Labor Day weekend is always Memorial Day weekend is always the unofficial start of summer, what we call summer season up here. And then June will ramp up into July and August again being peak. So that's what seasonality is like up here.